Hi, I'm David Summers. I'm the general manager of talent optimization here at Workday, and happy to be here. And we're going to walk through today our new product offering called the Workday Talent Marketplace. I'm going to walk you through just a high-level presentation, talking about a little bit of the background on the genesis of the product, and then jump right into a demo. Before I do jump into Talent Marketplace, I want to cover a foundational component within Workday that's highly important to this discussion, and it's really all the work that we've done around our skills, what we call Skills Cloud, and it's what allows us to do some of the things you're going to see within this product area. Skills Cloud at Workday is more than an ontology. So if you look at the way we think about skills, the first component is that ontology. Our ability to help our customers manage, literally millions of skill and skill variants. We've gone in, we've done that. We've taken lots of both internal Workday data, so customer data, plus external data that we have access to as well. And we've built a living, breathing ontology that grows and shrinks based on skill demand out in the real world. And that is the first thing that we tackled. The second piece to this is really, once you have that ontology, the ability to also infer skills information about specifically employees or your workers. It's great to have an ontology that's consistent, but if you don't know any skills information about your people, it's not much help. And so we've built some machine learning capability that allows us to go in and really start to begin to understand across all of this, powerful Workday data that we have, what skills people actually have. And then the next piece to that is, once we know that information, how do we actually go in and begin to understand and verify that someone might have a skill? So whether that skill information came from an inference from our machine learning, whether that skill came from them actually doing something within the system and, tagging a skill to their profile, or any of those types of things, how do we start to begin to validate and verify that they actually have that skill?
You made a counterintuitive statement when we were talking earlier. You said,
yeah,
the number of skills I would have said would have exploded in an organization. And you said
yep.
Your machine learning has actually culled it down to make it more meaningful, right? Is that
correct?
A true statement? Yep.
That is a totally true statement. And what's interesting is, right, the half-life of skills continues to shrink. So what you see even externally and even within the customer data sets that we have, certain skills just happen to go by the wayside after a while as well, right? There's also, the concept of skill variance. So as the system gets smarter, it starts to understand that, hey, these two things actually are the same skill, right? So we're able to start to shrink down that data over time. It's fairly stable now. But we still do see some growth as we add industry data, those types of things. We would not be able to have a product like the Workday Talent Marketplace without this, kind of foundational capability. So let's really kind of jump in and talk about why Workday Talent Marketplace. If you look at what's going on, especially now with the pandemic and everything going on in the world, skills and the concept of internal mobility are more important than ever. These are just some high level figures here and metrics. This is definitely one of the top two, I would say, hot button areas for C-level executives, out there today. You can see that 76% of those folks have rated talent mobility as important or very important. They also are starting to see even more and more why reskilling and upskilling is significant. And they also have noted, recognized that all of this is a huge challenge, right? They don't have the processes or really the capability internally that would allow them to do this at the scale that they need to do it at. So this is becoming more and more and more important. The other thing we've seen is a change, really a transformation in the way that organizations are even structured. Traditionally, you see the traditional hierarchy. Workday has you can go into Workday and you can actually see a very traditional hierarchy within our system of, the way that people are structured within most of our customers. In reality, though, that is not the way that work gets done. The way that work actually gets done today, and our customers recognize this as well, starts to look a little more like this. Everything's project-based. You've got squads, teams, lots of different names for this. But in essence, really it's this interconnected, kind of group of projects and teams that are working on these kind of in many cases, cross-functional strategic initiatives, which this doesn't really align to, the traditional hierarchy that you see in most HCM systems today. And, as we move further out, you're starting to see some of the more advanced customers and folks in the market, their organizations are starting to look more like this. It's really this network of agile teams, right? Where they're looking at their people and saying, what skills do those folks have? What skills do we need on a particular initiative or project? And let's actually mobilize the right team to handle that particular project. So, once again, to be able to do this, you have to understand, number one, the skills you have and the skills you need. And this is really where the Workday Talent Marketplace comes in. And at a really super high level, it is all about connecting your talent with the opportunity that exists within your organization. And it is a marketplace. So on one side, you have supply, which in this particular case, it's all of your workers, right? All of the talent profiles, all of that data that we actually have, enriched talent data that we have about those folks, where we can, once again, we can normalize that information, we can infer information about that, and we can actually verify information about your people. And then on the other side, there's the demand, right? So what opportunities are actually out there within your, within your organization that need those particular skills. So that could be everything from what we call a gig, which I'm going to show you today as part of the Workday Talent Marketplace. That's where you can create a really short-term type of project, to rotation assignments, stretch assignments, projects, strategic initiatives, and even, full-time positions.
This is an internal, within an organization use case, right?
Correct. Started internal, as you mentioned, specifically employee, full-time employee based. The next components to this are opening it up to other types of workers. So that might be contingent workers. We already have some early adopters in the way that they're using Workday. They're able to get their contingent workers in here, but we're looking at how we even expand it even beyond that. With that, let's jump into a demo. So I'm going to escape out of here. And let's actually go here. Okay. So I am actually logged in to Workday. As you can see, I'm in the home screen of Workday as Amelia Casillas. And Amelia, from a persona perspective, she might be a manager within an organization. She has been given access to the Workday Talent Marketplace, not only from the ability to go see, let's say, gigs and full-time positions she might be a match for, but she's actually been given the ability to go out and create what we call a gig, right? So these short-term projects that allows her to go and actually see folks she might be able to recruit and help her out. So she can jump into this. You can see she's already been in here. She's it's very easy to create a new gig within the product. I can go in, basically create this click through new gig capability. I can type in my gig title, what's the gig about. It collects some basic information around location, whether it's on site, those types of things. I can attach photos or any attachments that I might want folks to leverage. And then I can go in, and this area is very unique in that it leverages all of that gig detail information, and the machine learning will actually start to suggest skills that this gig requires. Once I complete all of that, I can actually submit the gig, and I'm just going to cancel out because she's got some already created that we'll jump into here. Give me 1 second, right? It'll look a little something like this. So in this particular case, she's got a new machine learning, new product rollout that she needs some help with. You can see all of the information about this particular gig here. You can see the deliverables she's looking for to get out of this. All of that key information that she would have been walked through to fill out, you can see her as well, including looks like she uploaded an attachment, and clearly all of the skills that she's going to need to help her out here. She can also manage her team. This is the recruiting, if you will, aspect of this product. So once again, once she completes all of that gig information, the Workday Talent Marketplace automatically shows her, okay, of the folks within your organization, here are the people that are a match, right? And you can see there's folks that are a very strong match within here as well. She can take a look at those folks. She can actually see what skills they have as well. And she can also go in and she can see a match analysis. So in this particular case, Marcus is a senior product developer. He has quite a few skills that she's looking for. And she has the choice of reaching out directly to Marcus, having a conversation, and seeing if this is a fit. You'll also notice there's a little icon here showing that Marcus is actually interested in her gig. And I'll show you how that happens as well, because this is a two-sided marketplace. So once again, she can see anybody who's interested. She can shortlist those folks to come back and say, hey, I want to have a conversation and see if I want to add them to the team. She can also say, you know what, I want to promote this gig even further. So she can click on this promotion capability. It will use Workday's business process. However the customer has set this up, it will notify those folks that have been matched either via email, via Workday notification. We even have integrations into things like Workday or into Microsoft Teams and Slack, where it'll notify them right in there that, hey, Amelia has this gig. You've been matched to it. Go take a look. Now, I'm going to flip over to Marcus, right? So he's the other side to this marketplace. Once again, Amelia created the gig. She's looking for help. Marcus is an employee who, would be normally just doing his day-to-day work, when he would get a notification saying, hey, you've been matched to Amelia's gig. So let's jump in and see what that looks like for him. So now I'm in here as Marcus. He has, you'll notice, a slightly different icon. He has what's called the Opportunity Marketplace. So the way this has been configured in Workday, Marcus can't create a gig. Maybe he's not at the right level where he's allowed to do that. But what Marcus can do is Marcus can come in here and see what's available to him. When he first logs into the Opportunity Marketplace, there's a little onboarding process. This is an area where we start to, really surface some of that skills capability and that ML we use and inference. So you'll notice we know what skills he has. These would have come from his talent profile, but we're also suggesting skills to him as well. This is inferred skills. So this is either coming from the skills, it's basically coming from the skills graph within Workday itself. So we might understand, as an example, that because he knows, machine learning algorithms, that's actually highly related to big data, data mining, big data. He can actually add that to his, and it'll automatically add to his profile as well. So he can click on that. We also want to understand what his interests are in this particular case. It's great that he has certain skills, but what if he's interested in developing other skills? We know some interests that he has. In this particular case, he's maybe highly interested in data analytics as well. I can add that. And then I click next. If you have gigs turned on, it is configurable. You can choose how many, this is how many hours people can actually work on something like this. So in this particular case, he's going to say, hey, I have 1 to 5 hours per week. That's all I can give to these types of things. He can click next. And then once he clicks finish, the system goes out, looks at all of the opportunities that are out there, and immediately starts showing Marcus, hey, here are the opportunities within your organization that you are a match for. And you'll notice we show a top match up here. We actually also continue to show any inference skill information to Marcus in case he wants to update his talent profile right from here. We can recommend gigs that people have put in. We can also use that same machine learning and that information that we know about Marcus to recommend gigs that are actually going to help him develop skills that he says he wants to develop. So it's a slightly different type of match, right? So he might be matched in this one as an example because he's really good at certain things they need. And this one he's matched because he may have some skills they need, but the gig will also help him gain some skills as well. Okay. And then finally, if you're using Workday recruiting, this is really where you start to see the power of one kind of come through, where now we can start to also match you to full-time opportunities that have been posted as available for internal hiring. We can start to match you to those as well. So the one last component I want to show is, right, as you can imagine, if I go back to the host persona here, let me use my shortcut. I'm going to jump back into this gig as Amelia and go into machine learning that this is supposed to be completed. The system's going to reach out to her and say, hey, is this finished? If not, she can go in, edit her dates. If it is finished, she is prompted to actually complete the gig where she would come in, click this button, and this is where she can go in as the gig host and start to provide feedback to the team, right? So she can say, hey, would I recommend these individuals for another gig? I can actually leave public feedback. This is highly configurable, by the way. So there's both public and private feedback you can configure on this. And in this case too, I can also endorse Maria for these skills in this case, or at Aiden, anybody on the team. I would go through, and once I'm done, I click complete gig and it shows as completed. All of that information, the feedback, the skill endorsements, the gig itself that I completed, all automatically flow back to all of the team's talent profiles within Workday. They don't have to do a thing. The beautiful thing about that as well is back to that concept of skill validation, verification, and strength that I talked about within each person's talent profile. For any skill they've been endorsed on, that endorsement will now show up as a piece of what we call evidence. So you or anyone else that has access to a person's profile in Workday can go see, oh, okay, in this particular case, right, Pedro or whoever has this skill, there'll be a number next to it. I can click on that and I can actually see the various evidence that Workday has found that Pedro has that particular skill. And one of those might be a completed gig and an endorsement from Amelia. Okay. And that is the Workday Talent Marketplace in a nutshell at a very high level.